It is horrible outside right now. I feel like I'm standing underneath a blowtorch, and this insane heat is destroying what is left of my vegetable garden. Barely a month ago, every single tomato in this raised bed garden right here was perfect, but then we got 3 weeks of absolutely torrential rain that drowned them and spread diseases everywhere. And that started the problem that you see right here. Then this massive heat wave came in behind all of the rain, and now it is so hot and dry, we can't even get a drop of rain or a cloud. And all of this terrible, terrible heat is going to finish these plants off. I'm going to have to grab every single tomato I possibly can right here, because in another week or two, all of these plants will be gone. So here we are, it's only June 24th, and it looks like much of our tomato season is already coming to an end here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, an entire month ahead of schedule versus an average year. What's going on, gardeners? It's summer, it's unbearably hot, we don't want to be outside in this heat, and our garden is suffering so badly in the heat, it may die. This happens to some extent every year. Don't let yourself get stuck in this death spiral. On this video, I'm going to show you all how smart gardeners keep their garden alive in extreme heat. The information in this video will change your life and help you keep growing all summer long.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out my Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom apparel and gear.
It is truly horrid outside. We hit 99 degrees here in North Carolina the last 2 days in a row, with heat indices briefly exceeding 115 degrees. And while this extreme heat wave will eventually come to an end, it is going to be hot and oppressively humid for months to come. This is not weird weather. Every year, multiple times a year, something like this happens, and it is critical that we have the tools in our garden to defend against it. It only takes 1 or 2 persistent heat waves to destroy your garden and all the hard work you put in. The solution to this problem is surprisingly simple: shade cloth. I have been preaching the good news of shade cloth for 5 years now, trying to get as many people on board as possible. Shade cloth will change your life. It is so effective, I have 8 shade cloth tarps of varying sizes that I use all over my yard and garden. And the best part is, it won't just protect your plants, it will protect you. If you install it overhead, you will enjoy working in your garden in the summer again, because working underneath the shade cloth overhead is like stepping into a different world, a different climate that's 10 to 20 degrees cooler with no scorching sun beating on you. Yes, I know there's a hole in my tank top, but I'm not messing up one of my nice tank tops to hang a shade tarp on one of the hottest days of the year. We want to save the dress tank tops for going out to dinner. A lot of gardeners seem to be resistant to giving shade cloth a try, especially gardeners at higher latitudes or higher elevations. But I'm here to say, shade cloth isn't just for gardeners with long, hot growing seasons. It is for everyone, regardless of where you live. You could live in Zone 3 Minnesota, but 90 to 100 degree heat waves still happen every summer, and it really only takes 1 or 2 heat waves to ruin everything in your garden. And folks at a higher elevation aren't safe either, because it's not just about temperature. UV index stresses plants just as badly as high temperature, and the higher your elevation, the more UV damage is caused to your plants due to the thinner atmosphere. So even if your summers are cooler in general, on average, you need to have shade cloth on hand to protect against the heat waves and the times of the year when UV damage is maximum. So now that you know why you need it, I want to show you some simple ways to install it. Now, before I go any further, please note that for any of the items that I'm featuring in this video, I will place direct links down to them in the video description for your convenience. As for any of the DIY tutorials that I'm mentioning, I will also place links to them down in the video description as well. I have videos that show you how to build and install all of these different things. Now, for most people, the easiest way that they can install shade cloth is by building a little PVC hoop house over their raised bed garden. And all you need to do is go to Lowe's, Home Depot, or any other large big box store and get yourself some 1/2-inch electrical conduits. Make sure it's electrical conduit, not plumbing pipe, because the electrical conduit is treated to be UV resistant. Then all you will do is you will buy some conduit clamps, and you will strap the conduit to the base of the raised bed, and then the conduit will easily bend over. Now, if you don't have a raised bed that you can attach to, say you grow in an earth bed or you have a metal raised bed, well, you can go over to the concrete aisle and you can buy 3/8 inch pieces of rebar and pound them a couple of feet into the ground and make sure that they are sticking up about 6 inches or so. Then you can just take the 1/2 inch conduit, it will slip right over the 3/8 inch rebar and you can bend it over. So that's a good way that you can make hoops if you don't have a wooden raised bed that you can strap it to. Then all you will do is you will get yourself a shade tarp and you will install it over your raised bed hoops or whatever hoops that you make. There you go. It doesn't get any easier than that. Then you will just take these PVC snap clamps. These are 1/2 inch PVC snap clamps. They're very inexpensive. You will just snap them to the conduit, and that is going to hold this on so the wind won't blow it off. Now, because this is a mesh, it doesn't catch a lot of wind. It's not like plastic. It's not like very fine insect netting. It doesn't blow much in the wind, so it's very resistant to blowing off. But because it is mesh, it also does a great job at blocking a lot of the larger insects as well. So not only will you be able to reduce your irrigation needs, and your plants will be a lot happier because they're not as stressed in the full sun, but you'll get a lot of insect protection too out of the deal. So there you go, folks. This design is easy, cheap, and functional. The makeshift PVC hoop houses are a great way to protect your plants, but what if you want to step things up to the next level and protect yourself as well by erecting the shade cloth high above so you can actually garden under it? Well, for my larger full vegetable garden, I have accomplished this, and it's been so much fun doing so. Now, the way I used to do things is I used to run 1/8 inch steel cables overhead, then clip the grommets of the shade tarps onto the steel cables, either with plant clips or carabiners. And this worked very well to protect the plants, and this method is perfect for most folks with smaller gardens. However, because my garden is pretty large, it was getting annoying to deal with the shade cloth sagging in the middle of my garden when I tried to walk underneath. This year, I put cattle panel above my garden, which allows me to easily roll the shade cloth out and zip tie the grommets on the sides of the tarps to the cattle panel. The result is no more sagging, and I can walk underneath freely. This is by far my favorite design. I can't wait to take you in for a closer look. Just a few hours ago, it was almost unbearable standing underneath here working on these plants, but I swear it's at least 10 degrees cooler now thanks to the shade cloth overhead. It is like a whole new world, and I feel so much better gardening in these conditions. So while it is unfortunately too late for all of the tomatoes in this raised bed, these other plantings of tomatoes that are doing much better, well, there is hope for them. They are still relatively green and they don't have a lot of diseases on them, and they are starting to ripen fruit. So the season is definitely not lost, and we have the shade cloth to protect us for the remainder of the summer. There's still some really nice looking tomatoes in here. So even if your garden is a little bit beaten up from the heat, don't fret. It's not too late to put up shade cloth. What's left of your garden will appreciate it. Not to mention any succession crops that you plant behind the initial crops that you already transplanted. There's still plenty of time for most of us to grow another 2 or 3 crops of cucumbers, squashes, smaller melons that fruit relatively quickly. I'll be starting some fall tomatoes any day now to get some early determinants in to harvest through the fall. So even if things are beaten up from the heat, don't worry, you can still start seeds right now. But what if you have a big open area or a container garden that you want to protect? Well, what I did was I made my own makeshift high tunnel out of T-posts and 1/2 inch PVC conduits, and it was actually really easy to do. I'll link to a video both above and down in the video description that shows you how to do that. Then I attach a shade tarp to the structure that I made. On top of this high tunnel, I pull a big shade tarp overhead. I use a clothesline to weave in and out of the grommets behind and in front of the T-posts to tie everything down securely in place. The end result is a giant, affordable DIY shade tunnel that makes it easy and fun to work underneath. Again, I'll place links down in the video description to all of the items that I used to build this structure, as well as the how-to videos that will show you how. It's actually pretty easy. And once you get this shade cloth up above, it's actually fun to be in the garden again. No more working in the extreme sun. Even when it's 100 degrees out, under the shade, it's not only manageable, but somewhat comfortable, both for me and my plants. That's why I actually extended this overbuild above my garden to hang out into my container garden area, because what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move some of my potted fig trees underneath this little protected overhang right here. So I'll actually have a nice shaded protected walking path. And of course, if your goal is to protect some fruit trees that are made out of hardwood and they can easily accommodate the weight of a shade cloth on top of them, don't be afraid to just toss the shade cloth directly overhead. These are some fig trees that are in undersized containers and they are drying out way too quickly in this heat wave, so I just clustered them all together in a protected location against my house, and I tossed the shade cloth above, and they're doing fine with the cloth just draping over them. So now that you know all about the incredible benefits of shade cloth, let's discuss timing. When should we install it and when should we take it down? Well, I'll give you my rough guidelines. I live on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, Zone 8B, where our summers are very long and very hot and very humid. And generally speaking, I put my shade cloth up either the first or second week of June, which is usually between June 7th and June 15th, and then I have to take it down by the end of August, because that usually coincides with our hurricane season, and that works out to be just fine, because usually by late August the UV index drops so much that underneath shade cloth the plants may actually get a little bit leggy. So roughly early to mid-June to mid to late August for me. If you're in a warmer zone, you may need to go a little bit longer on each side. If you're in a cooler zone, you may only need to have your shade cloth up in late June into July and then take it down by early August. You really kind of have to figure that out and fine-tune it over the years. If you see your plants getting a little bit leggy, where they're putting on leaves that are kind of wrinkled or they're undersized, that is a sign that they are not getting too much sun and you are putting the shade cloth up too early or you're leaving it up too long. So look for those signs and fine-tune it over the years. That being said, if you live in a generally cool climate or at a high latitude where you don't need shade cloth all the time, you can just put it up temporarily. So throw it up when you get heat waves like this, and then you may only need it up for a few days and you can take it right down. Again, gardening is equal parts science and art, and while shade cloth is very scientific in its use, it's kind of an art form to figure out when is the best time to use it. So take those guidelines I gave you and then modify them based on your climate. Look at your plants, make sure you're still getting full-size, well-developed leaves, and that will generally tell you that it's a good time to have that shade cloth overhead. And that is why, how, and when to use shade cloth. I've been preaching the use of shade cloth for many years, and generally speaking, I have only seen rave reviews from its use. So please, I urge you to give it a try. It's really incredible stuff. If you have been using shade cloth for years, please post your experiences down in the comments below. I'd love to hear how it is treating you, and if you've had great success, please give everybody your location and explain to everyone the dates that you put up shade cloth down in the comments, so people that may be close to you can use your experience as a guide. It would be awesome if we could populate the comments section of this video full of I live here, I put them up during these dates and it's worked great. That would be wonderful to share that with the community. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring the notification bell so you're notified when I release more videos like these. Again, I placed all of the product links for these different shade structures down in the video description for your convenience, and I also placed lots of DIY guides down there if you want to see the videos for how I installed all of these things in a longer format. For everything else I use in real life in my garden, please check out my Amazon storefront link, expand the video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, and you'll see everything I use in my garden in real life. While you're down there, please consider checking out my spread shop for custom merch if you want to support my channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video.
Go play.
All right, mister.
Go there! Give me that bunny. Give me that bunny. Give me that bunny. It's mine. It's mine. So good. Nice catch, buddy. Good boy. One more tug. Want one more? One more? Ready? And... yeah, he's done. It's too hot out.